Hello, my name is John Spangle. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Underground. I named it Underground. At the time, I was thinking of the Underground Church at the time in China and Iran, and where those people were being so persecuted, but there's an outpouring of the Spirit to God. I've gone through a lot in my life, and right now, unfortunately, my wife and I are getting divorced. I've talked before. The reason I raise that is right now, the house that we lived in's been 7 going on 8 months. It's a tree fell on it. I've had trouble with contractors, this and that, and right now I'm in the house. I got running water. Turned water on last week. Pipes broke, so they tried to fix that. I have no heat in the house. Matter of fact, I've had a hole for 10 weeks where the furnace was in the floor. They took it out and not replaced it. I have a lot of issues with the contractors, like I said, but it's kind of chilly this morning, and I got bags under my eyes because I'm tired. I say all this not to bring attention to me, but I really am grateful to God. I got a roof over my head. You can see some of the painting that's done. They got the new ceiling fan up here in the bedroom. My laptop's over at my son's. He's using it right now at my daughter's house, so I'm not bringing my son in this house until it's completely done and there's heat and everything else. And I have my 5 cats with me. They keep me warm at night. They snuggle. I got a little electric heater. But I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm sad that I'm going through the turmoils, like a divorce and all that. My wife and I had been married for 8 years. We were divorced for 13 years and then remarried for 13 more years. And then unfortunately, it just turned out the way it is. And I pray for her and I ask for prayer for my wife. But things are going to happen. Jesus Christ came to this earth to show the kingdom, and it's not, it came to, people misunderstand, it came to split families. I mean, husband, wife, children, adults. I have one of I call him children, but he's a grown adult. He mocks God a lot and mocks me because I believe in God, and I talk to him many times over, my oldest son, and about God. But there's going to come time where I'm not going to be there. And I tell him the rapture is about to happen. And I so look forward to it. I yearn for my son to come to know God. But I stress more than anything that there's nothing here that I live for. I live here on earth, but this is temporary. I look forward to being with God in heaven because for many reasons. One is, I got more cats loving me, is, this is Artie. I have a lot of pain, chronic pain. I hate I have a colostomy bag because of my cancer, but God allowed me to live a little bit longer on this earth. But this morning I'm just full of awe. I know I'm rambling like an old man. I'm not very good in front of camera, never will be. I'm awkward. I'm not a scholar, teacher, or anything like that. I'm just a guy that likes to talk about God. But I'm so privileged. I spent over 20 years in the military. I'm a combat veteran. Many times I didn't think I'd make it back. I've lost a lot of brethren, and those of us that made it back, we all come up with all kinds of cancers, and unfortunately, and through the years, I've lost so many because of cancer. And when I had my cancer, I was stage 4, and my attitude was very emotional because when I found out, and I was in the last stages of cancer, and they didn't know, I had over 80 some odd percent blockage in my lower intestines. I was sad for my family, but I was excited, and people don't understand that. There's been times I've been in combat where my heart's been in my throat. I've seen people die horribly, and the flesh doesn't want to die. So it's not like I tell my sons, it's not like a video game, where they do combat on video game. They shoot somebody and it goes quick. The flesh wants to live, so people struggle. And it just, but at the same time, even though I seen these things and I experienced them, I still had that, I can't quite put it in words. I knew I die, I'm with God, which is something I want. That's something, unfortunately, my soon-to-be ex-wife got after me about. She said, "You are so obsessed with God." And I've had so many people recently tell me that, how I'm obsessed with God. And I just can't comprehend. God is everything to me. God is life. And I love God so much. I prayed yesterday to God that I long to be in heaven with Him, to have the conversations with Him. I long to people watch my videos that are looking for God or studying God themselves. I long to be with my real family. And it's just a longing I have that's very strong now. I believe that the rapture of the church is very soon. But that don't necessarily mean it's this year. It means we're closer. But when you see these signs, you see other signs going on, like we're on the cusp of the Psalm 83 war. A lot of people are talking about Ezekiel 38, but Ezekiel 38 war is when Israel's living in peace. Well, that won't happen to the Psalm 83 war, where the nations surrounding Israel attack her and she defends herself, nuclear war, and destroys them and just doubles her land. And then she'll start peace and security. And then later, the Ezekiel 38 war, they will come together again, and with Russia leading, and Turkey and Iran being the three main groups that will come again. Ezekiel 38 war, and then God will intervene. Because if God don't intervene at that point, Israel will be destroyed. So there's times a gap. We still got a lot going on, but we feel the closeness because we know the body of Christ is going to be taken soon. And the reason why there's so much argument, I believe God allows within the body for, well, some of us miss teachings, but God allows that because Satan's taken totally by surprise. So if you have the different pre-trib, post-trib, mid-trib, people argue. I'm definitely pre-trib. I don't even, I've read and I study everything, and I've studied where these other viewpoints, but I just can't get there. To me, it's totally pre-tribulation. And some ministers, are very dogmatic to the point where they'll talk like you're foolish if you don't go with the mid-trib or post-trib, if you believe it's pre-trib. So there's a lot there that has a lot to say. But I just feel overwhelmed. I wanted to make a video. I'm busy moving in the house and things in my personal life. And so it's been one issue after another. I would say it's spiritual warfare. That's attacking. That's fine, because I put my faith in God. I read daily, study God's Word. And I'm just overwhelmed at this moment. So much this morning when I woke up on Easter, and just thinking about God and the sacrifice that Jesus Christ has made for us. No one else sacrifices for you. You get all these different religious beliefs, but none of the leaders, none have sacrificed for you. And when we see everything happen in Israel, is the key. Not the United States. We're too wrapped up. People are too into Donald Trump, all this stuff. I'm sorry, I've listened to one minister recently say some things about Trump. That's J.D. Farag. Right? Don't butcher his name too much. There's many ministers I listen to, but J.D.'s the one that's out there that it's the only one I've heard actually talk against Trump recently. And one minister was getting after him because he mentioned that not voting in the next election, which it's a game, people. We're being fooled. You know, it's the same coin. I mean, they're all together. You know, I voted for Trump in 2016 and in 2020. This election coming up, I'm not going to vote, and I'm not going to listen to anybody tell me what's what, because the one who becomes president is the one that they put in. Trump was put in 2016. There's a lot going on that you don't understand. There's things that he backs up. 5G technology that the Antichrist will use in the future. He considers himself the father of the vaccine, where he pushes the vaccine out. I won't say any more about the vaccine because I'm on YouTube. The Abraham Accord, his son was involved. His son-in-law, I apologize, was involved with working up this peace treaty, which I believe is what the Antichrist will use in the future. It divides Israel, allows for the Palestinians to have. Palestinians have nothing. They have no rights to anything in Jerusalem. No one does but the Jews. And so, hey Patch. I believe there's so much fighting on the Temple Mount because I believe at one point Jerusalem was the garden that was east of Eden. And the Temple Mount, I to this day, I still believe that right there is where God had a personal relationship with Adam, and they walked in the garden in Eden was around the Temple Mount. It's there. It's in my mind. I'm not saying I'm right or anything like that. I did a video about something about that in one of my earlier videos. But I wanted to read in here. I'm reading the Bible. This Bible means a lot to me. My father died last year, and it was a rough time because I didn't even have the money to bury him. And so, but we were able to, I had to borrow the money to have him cremated, and I have him, his urn, how you want to say it, with me. Because he had always said either keep me with you or spread my ashes over. It's an area in Arkansas where he loved as a boy. I met when he was younger. And so I'm looking for how things happen. I'm going to take my son this summer and go to, because I haven't had a lot of financial difficulty the last few years after my cancer. So I'm hoping to be able to do that and take him down to the mountain, as he says, and scatter his ashes. But at one point in the future, the ashes are going to come together, no matter where they're scattered or if they're in the urn, and it will be his resurrected body right before I meet the Lord myself. There's no doubt my father was saved. He had changed so much. There's my cat, Patches. Everybody calls him the zombie cat. He's so sick. He wasn't supposed to last, and all my animals are rescue animals. And he lasted, and he's a fighter. He's my buddy. Blessing from God, our pets. But my father definitely, he was saved man. Not perfect. We're never perfect, but he was saved. I seen him change so much after, he was baptized, and just to see the difference in front of the camera, that big man, to see the difference in him as I growing up. But I took his Bible this morning, and just for it to be with me, and I wanted to make a video. If my Patches stay out of the way of the camera, get out of the way of the camera, big man. And I wanted to I apologize. I'm extremely tired. Speak about Jesus, it's the true vine. John chapter 15. This is Jesus speaking. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you, as a branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth a branch, and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit, so shall ye be my disciples. As the Father hath loved me, so I have loved you. Continue ye in my love. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments, and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might be remain in you, and that your joy might be full. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. I've seen this so much in the military. You are my friends, if you do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants. For the servant knoweth not that the Lord doeth, but I have called you friends. For all things I have heard of my Father, and I have known unto you. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, and ordained you, that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit shall remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you. These things I command you, that you love one another. If the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you are of the world would love his own. But because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept me saying, they will keep yours. But all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not sinned. But now that they have no cloak for their sin, Hardy, come here, girl, come on. Yes, ma'am. She's very finicky. They have kept saying that they will keep yours. But also these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they have not sinned, but now they have no cloak for their sin. He that hateth me hateth my Father also. If I had not done among them the works which have no other man did, they had not had sin. But now they both seen and hated me, both and me and my Father. But this cometh to pass, that the word might be fulfilled, that is written in their law, that they hated me without a cause. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me, and she also bear witness, because ye have been with me from the beginning. I just wanted to speak some words of Jesus this morning. Today represents when he arose from the dead. Something that no one else has done, unless God's allowed it. Lazarus, Jesus arose from the dead. There was a girl, a centurion's daughter, I believe. My memory might be off a little bit there, but for witness, he brought her back to life. And God creates us. God can do anything he wants with us. I am God. I belong to God. Not I am God, but I am God's possession. I belong to God. I willingly submit to God. I love it. I love so much. I look forward to my passage jumped around. I look forward to being with God. I just so overwhelmed because I know the time is short. But even if it's another 5-10 years, I'll deal with things. The other day I moved in this house, and the reason why I mention this is not to bring it on me. It's to show attitude. I moved into the house. I have issues with, like I said, the contractors, and got the water turned on. Everything was good. Left, came back 4 hours later, and pipes throughout the house had busted because it's been all winter long without heat in the house, and so I was trying to crawl underneath the house and go scuba diving to get underneath, to go underwater. That's my patch. Yes, sir. To go under the water, just to get underneath there to turn the water off, and it was something, especially with my bad back. It was funny because my daughter's boyfriend came over to help me, and he's nice man, but he's to be blunt, I'm bigger than he is. So I stuck underneath the house, and he's like, "Well, let me pull you back, okay?" Because I had to go underwater. It was completely to the bottom of the house, the water that it leaked down in there and busted pipes, and I had to go in there. I took my hat off and shirt. I said, "I'll go in there and just pull me out." So he's like pulling out a beached whale because he's trying to pull me back, and he was really having a hard time getting, because I was at an angle, help me get out from underneath the house. But I didn't want. He was going to go underneath there, and I was like, "No, I'm the one to get wet and dirty. It's my house." So it's good to have people around to help you. But I'm so grateful, and I just overwhelmed knowing. I was laughing about everything. My daughter was really upset. Oh, Dad, she's worried about me, and I'm like, why? It just, I got a roof over my head. You know, I show you, but it's on my phone. I have a picture of Iraq when I was in Iraq in 2003 and 2004. We spent almost 2 years in Iraq. We were over there before the war started, and I had my Humvee. Didn't have no doors on it. It wasn't an up armored Humvee. It's made out of fiberglass. It was brought from Indiana over there, and I had my cot by it, and that's where I slept for a long time before we even got tents or anything like that. I mean, when we first got over there, it was crazy. Small arms fire every night. It was like clockwork. We knew they were going to shoot at us. They popped mortar rounds at us, and every now and then the RPG is the thing that bothered me the most. You had to watch out for that. But just different things. You look back and like, man, and at times you miss it. I can't explain why. I don't know. I'm a soldier. Purpose. I really can't explain it. I know that during that time in my life, I was so close to God. I had my Bible with me, and I was praying to God, and it just, I'm so close to Him. And that's why sometimes bad things happen. People are like, why would God allow bad things happen? Because if bad things didn't happen, He didn't allow it, we wouldn't go to God. We'd be too wrapped up in ourselves, too wrapped up in this world. One of the places I worked years ago, I worked housekeeping in a hospital. One of the areas I cleaned was the 7th floor of Good Samaritan Hospital in Vincennes, Indiana. It was the oncology. This is where they had all the cancer patients. Hindsight, years later, I have cancer myself. And all these cancer patients, and people would go in and people would die. There was a lot of death. And I hear so many people just blaming God. God this, God that. I'm like, it's not. God has to, God allows for bad things to happen. We have free will. We have our choice. And instead of going to God for prayer, they would some people, emotional, if you lose somebody, would just curse God. I remember one lady died. I would come in there every day and clean the room and call her beautiful. Hey, beautiful, how you doing? And different things like that. And her sister one time brought me a picture of her, what she used to look like, and before the cancer, because she was terminal. And matter of fact, she died that week. And she brought me a picture of what she used to look like before the cancer. And she was a very beautiful woman, but it just, And I get mad about cancer because it's man-made and it's a business. When you go into, when I did my cancer, and God was with me, and I would get frustrated because sugar feeds cancer. So what would they have right in the area where we did our chemo and everything was cakes, pies, cookies. And I talked to my cancer doctor. I'm like, didn't you say sugar's bad for cancer? And he's like, yeah. Then why you got all the sugar out here for people that's getting their chemo? And he's like, well, that's from the local churches and things like that. Well, then you need to let the people know. I mean, these people are ignorant. They don't know they're hurting the people with cancer. They're giving, they're volunteering a lot of work, cooking and different things, and giving to try to get comfort to these people in pain. And yet the doctors know. And the thing with chemo, it's not regulated. People don't understand chemo's not regulated like a lot of different things in our country. And like me, I have 5 different experimental chemo, which I have after effects. I have some ME issues. I have to wear shoes because my feet, I do not feel the bottom of my feet. I remember one time I stepped on a piece of glass and walked in the other room. It looked like it was a murder victim. There was blood going everywhere. I didn't even know I stepped because the glass got broke in the kitchen. And my son had broke the glass and swept it up, but then he left a piece of glass and didn't see it. And I stepped right and didn't even know it was in my foot. And so, but I had to learn how to drive a car all over again because it's kind of hard to push down. You can't feel the bottom of your foot when you're trying to drive a car. So, but I get long-winded, and it's just long enough. We all have a story to tell, and that's what our lives are about. So when we are in heaven together, we will tell our stories, and it's just going to be wonderful, and it's going to be soon, real soon. And while we're here on earth, we are to talk to others about God and just get them to come to Him. That's what we're commanded by Jesus. Realize that Jesus Christ was the blood sacrifice to cover our sin. And sometimes that bothers me because I know no one else could have done that for me, and I know that I sin, and I fight with that because what Jesus suffered to save me. Because I understand, I did a video in detail about what Jesus suffered on the cross. That's a good video. I looked at medical stuff and look at what he had to suffer. One of my first assignments, I was in the Air Force 8 years before I went Army National Guard for 13. And one of my assignments, we were on Guam for almost 2 years, and we started the first POW training camp over there. And because I did survival training, worked with that, and I gave water survival training, remedial training to pilots, and we by hand cut in the jungle, took machetes, cut in there, and set up our POW training camp. We gave classes, lessons on that, survival, how to survive in the jungle. Excuse me. And but we do the training, and that's what got me interested in pressure point fighting and things like that later in the military. I meant martial arts. Is we did make it realistic to hurt the people and show them pain, and can't fathom the pain that Jesus went through for us. Because when you're in a situation like that as a prisoner of war, you do anything. You know, it's easy to judge people. Hey, you gave this information out. You gave that information out. Well, they're under duress. You know, they're being punished. And so you're under so much. Now, as some of the survivor instructors we talked about said, don't be a John McCain. John McCain is, everybody knows in politics, he's passed on now. He was not a godly man. And he was not, there's more to it. I'm not going to go into it, but I'm just letting you know that he wasn't tortured like people, made out. He made a career. And those are the politicians we have today. Those are the people, evil men that are running our country, and women that are in charge of our country. They're evil because they don't support God. There's a few out there who support God, but our nation, a lot of times people are praying for revival here. There comes a time when you pray, but there's a time you let go because of all the evil things we've done. I don't regret being a soldier or anything like that because I know what I stood for. But I'm ashamed of our nation, what they've done to people. And they cause so much death and pain around the world and have for years. I understand why other countries call Israel Big Satan and the United States Little Satan. And I understand that because we've done horrible things in other countries. Fought wars, start trouble that we have no business doing. And the United States is not a godly nation and hasn't been for a long time. But I give thanks to God every day. And I pray that by watching something like this, I open up just to show we are all weak and we deal with things in life. But our lives, the way we live our lives, is our testimony for God. And no matter what we've done, there's some things I've done in my life, as a soldier. You have to deal with, as I say, your demons, being violent and doing different things. You come to God for everything, and He will be there for you. But Jesus Christ sacrificed on the cross to be the blood covenant, that through Him, only through Jesus Christ, can we be saved. A lot of people talk about Billy Graham, all the years he done stuff, but what gets me is at the end, towards the end, Billy Graham talked about the whole world, Hindus and everybody. I can't remember who did an interview with him. Basically, he was saying Jesus Christ wasn't the only way. So you have to be careful. Don't look at men that are in a leader's position spiritually. They're still men. They still can suffer things of the flesh. People change. You can change for the good or you can change for the bad. And here you've had someone that you thought was a godly man and did things and had revivals and brought people to God, and then in the end he makes out like Jesus is not the only way. You need to research it, look it up. I don't talk ill unless there's a reason for it. It's our place to not judge, but to call out bad leadership, bad teachers, spiritual leaders, and only be discerning. And the only way we can do that, is being in God's Word. I look forward to making more videos. I'm excited because once we get moved in here, and I get my son in here, and hopefully get these guys to moving, I'm wanting to do more videos and get into more studies and really work on my YouTube channel and study more on God's Word as I'm learning. I'll be 58 years old this month, and I'm still learning the Word of God. It takes a lifetime, and that's something I look forward to. And hopefully I'll improve on these videos and do better. I'm here to motivate you to study on your own and learn. And I had told my grandson the other day, I was teasing him. I said, I was like, we were talking about different things. I'd love to talk to my 9-year-old grandson about God. He's got such a good heart. And I was teasing him. I said, something I learned a long time ago. And he's like, what? Adam and Eve didn't have a belly button. I was like, what? Papa? I was like, no, Adam and Eve didn't have a belly button. I explained that to him. But I remember years ago that Sunday school teacher, he had told me that. Melvin McCord, he had said, Adam and Eve don't have a belly button. And the reason he was putting it out there was like when we study, we get these fixed ideas, and we don't look at the overall picture, kind of really look and study into different things. So I thought that was pretty good. He thought that was cool. So he couldn't wait to go home and tell his dad that Adam and Eve didn't have a belly button. They're our future, our kids and grandkids, and that's where we teach. And unfortunately, it's hard when you have family members that you see that are not going towards God. It's tough, but you still have to teach them, be there for them. And as long as I have breath, I'll talk to, like my oldest son, I'll talk to him. Sometimes I get agitated. I get that old army sergeant. I like to be blunt, just to take him out in the backyard and whip tar out of him. But when he calls me old man and your time is over, and I'm like, son, you don't understand. I still have a bad back and stuff, but I still practice my martial arts. I love combat. So I'm out in the backyard. Neighbors know I'm back because I'm out there punching on a tree. John's back, crazy old guy. I have a lot of good people around here for good support. God bless you. And I thank you for listening to the Rambling of an Old Man. And I look forward to the day that we meet in person in heaven. And I really look forward to meeting my true family.